Assalamu alaikum friends, my name is Adnan Qurban. Today in this video I am going to discuss various concepts that are very important for beginners. I will try to keep things as simple as possible. Still, if you have any queries, then you can at the end freely ask me by commenting your queries in the comment section below. So in today's video we are going to perform the following task. First of all, we will create an SQL database and a table inside that database in SQL Server. After that, we will create a C# Windows application, and we will include that database we have created in our C# Windows application. After that, we will define our connection string in app.configure file, and then we will retrieve that connection string from app.configure file. After retrieving that connection string, we will go for the Windows form. We will design it and include some labels and text boxes and button on it to enter data to our database tables. And after that, we will write the appropriate code for storing data into our database. And after that, we will modify our Windows form once again and put DataGridView to show tables data onto it. And we will then write the code that will make the data available for us in the DataGridView from the table, and finally we will execute it. So let's begin. Open SQL Server, and just one thing I want to tell you that you have to copy that server name. We will need it later. Just select it and right click on it and click on copy and connect it. Okay. Here in the databases, click on the databases, and we have to create a new database. So select database and right click on it, create new database. And here in the database name, type as the name as sample db. Click OK, and it will create a sample db for us. Now inside the database you will see these things from which tables are our concern. Just select table and right click on it and click on table, and it will allow us to create a new table. We will have to specify the columns as well as the data types. So first column would be the ID, and the data type would be int. After that comes name. Data type should be n varchar. Then comes the age. Data type should be int, and till end we will use gender, and data type should be n varchar. And we will use identity specification for our ID column. We have to find the identity specification in column properties. Just click here and look for the identity specification right here. You just click on this arrow, and you will see is identity. It will be no, and just change its value from no to yes, and it will apply the identity increment by 1 and identity seed. So this is how we can create our table. Just save it and name the table as sample table. Okay, click on OK, and it will create a table for us. Just go to your database, click on refresh, and you will see your table here. So what we have done is we have created SQL Server database and table inside the database. Now what we have to do is we have to create a C# Windows application. So let's switch to Visual Studio. We will create a new project. Click on File, New, and click on Project. And from Visual C#, we'll use Windows and click on Windows Form application and name the project as sample project. And we will keep the solution name as sample project. Okay, just click on OK, select Windows Form application, click on OK, and it will create a project for us. Okay, we have done the second step. Now third step, include database in our C# application, Windows application. Now we have to include this database into our C# Windows application. So in order to do that, we have to click on view and we have to go to Server Explorer, and in the Server Explorer we have to add the connection right here. So I'll delete this one, the old connection, delete. Okay, now in order to add the new connection, just select your data connections, right click on it, and just you can add connection. If you if you already have created a database, you just click on add connection, and from the data source we have to change it to Microsoft SQL Server. Click OK, and you will be asked to provide the server name. Click on this arrow, and if you find the name of your server, then it's okay. If it's blank, then we have to type the server name that we have copied earlier while opening the SQL Server. Just paste the name right here, and you will be allowed to select or enter database name. Since we have already created a database named SampleDB, so we will just provide the name by clicking here and selecting the SampleDB. It will automatically include the database and this connection, and now press we can test our connection to test connection succeeded. Click OK. So it means there is no problem. Just click OK, and it will add the connection string, I mean to say the connection of the database in our Windows application. Here we can see the table, sample table. Okay, now we have to define our connection string in app.configure file. So in order to do that, switch to sample project. Okay, we have to go to Server Explorer, and from Server Explorer we have to select our data source, data connection. Now right click on it and go to properties, and in the properties window you will see the data connection string. Just double click on it and copy it. Now since we have copied it, we have to now move to our Solution Explorer, and we can view the Solution Explorer by clicking on view and click on Solution Explorer, and inside the Solution Explorer you can see the app.configure file. Just double click on it and it will be opened, and you will look at the code inside the app.configure file. Now we have to define the connection string right here. So type the following command: connection string add. First of all, we have to provide the name for our connection string. I will type connection underscore string. Secondly, we have to provide the provider name, that is system dot data dot SQL client, and at the end comes the connection string. Now inside this double quotation we have to paste our connection string. So just paste it and save this app.configure file. This is how we can define our connection string in app.configure file. Now what we have to do is we have to retrieve that connection string from app.configure file as well. So cross this one and double click on your form, and just before the constructor, declare a string and name it as connection string, and we will retrieve the connection string into this string. And before doing that, we have to actually include a namespace, that is using system dot configuration. And now we will type the following command here. First of all, we will type system dot, then we will type configuration dot configuration manager. And you can see that it is giving error, and if we want to resolve this error, we have to manually add the reference. So in order to do that, we have to select the reference, right click on it, and then click on add reference. Now we will look for system dot configuration, and here you can see system dot configuration. Just check this box and click OK. And now we can see that the errors are removed. Okay, system dot configuration manager. Now type connection string and put two brackets, and then dot connection string semicolon. Now inside these brackets we have to put two double quotation. And we have to actually type the name of connection string that we have actually defined in the app.configure file. So we have to view the name and go to Solution Explorer and check the name in app.configure file, and the name was, double click on app.configure file and you will see the name as connection string. Just copy it and paste it right here, paste, and this will retrieve our connection string from the app.configure file to this string, connection string. Okay, since we have retrieved connection string, now we have to design our form, and we have to put some label, text boxes and buttons. I have already done this to save the time for us. I have 3 labels, 3 text boxes for each label, and 1 submit button. And if we click on its properties, you will see that in the events I have an on click event for this button. Just double click here, you will be promoted to its on click event. Okay, now what we have to do is we have to write appropriate code for storing data to our database table. And now I will type the code that we will use to actually enter the data into the database. And before doing that, we have to include another namespace that is using system.data.sql client, and we will now be able to create SQL connections object and SQL commands object as well. SQL command. Okay, we will use try and catch block to make things work in a proper way. Okay, we'll use try and catch, type exception, create an object of it, and we'll handle that exception here. And if we are successful, then then the code will be executed. So we have to type the code here. We'll use connection is equal to new SQL connection, and here we will type the connection string, name of connection string that is inside this string. So copy that string and paste it right here between these brackets and put semicolon ahead. Now command equals to new SQL command. Now keep in mind that in command we have to provide 2 parameters. First one is the command text, and the second one is the object of SQL connection. So first of all, here we will type our command that is of query, and here we will provide the SQL connections object that is connection. So we will type connection here. And as far as the query is concerned, in order to insert our data into database, we will use the following query. We'll type it as insert into table name. Here comes the table name that it is in our case is sample table, SAMP and sample table. And what are the values? Double brackets. Now keep in mind, if you are getting text from the text box, you have to follow the following procedure. First of all, put single quotation, then put double quotation, and then put 2 addition signs, and between that addition signs you are supposed to write the name of the text box, and that is in our case text box 1, and we have to use the text property of that text box. So we will write dot text Similarly, we will write the same thing for others too as well. Single quotation, then double quotation, and between that double quotation we will type two addition signs, and between that addition sign we will type the name of second text box, that is text box 2 dot text. Similarly, comma, single quotation, double quotation, and double addition sign, and here type text box 3 dot text. Okay, and we have write the command. We have written the command. Now we have to open the connection, so we will write connection dot open. After opening the connection, we have to execute the command, so we will write command dot execute non-query, and after executing the command we have to close the connection as well. Connection dot close. So this will close our connection. Okay, now you see that we have an object of connection. The connection string is connecting this to our database, and we have a command that says insert into sample table, and these are the values that are provided from the text boxes, and these are given to this connection, and this is given to the database. Okay, connection is being opened here, the command is being executed here, and then connection is being closed here, and on the successful operation we will display a message. We will use message box dot show, and we will type a message here, data submitted successfully. Okay, put semicolon here, and in case of any error we will show error message again by using the same message box dot show, and in this case we will show the error, and error concatenation operator, and we will type the exception checked and put semicolon here. Okay, so we have typed the required code that is used to enter the values from these text boxes to the sample table. Okay, we will save it, and let's try to execute it. Press start button, click start button, and we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll see what are the values that we have in our table. Sample, just select your database, and right click on your table, and click on edit top 200 rows. You can see that our table is empty. Now we will write some values in it. ABC, and age is 1 to 3, gender is male, and we click on submit button, and it says data submitted successfully. Okay, now in your SQL server, open your sample table and click on this execute SQL, and you will see that the data is inserted here. I will try to insert another instance. Just change it XYZ, and 789, and we'll make it female. Again submit it. Data submitted successfully. Press OK, and click here to see the data inserted successfully. So this is how we can actually interact with our database using form, and we have used here text boxes to enter data, and the data is submitted on clicking this button. So we have to write the code in the on click of this button. Okay, till now we have actually inserted the data into our database tables. Now what we have to do is we are going to again modify our Windows form, and what we are going to do is we are going to put DataGridView in our Windows form to show the data right there. So in order to do that, we are going to close this application, go to Visual Studio, and on your designing of the form, extend the size of the form, and now go to toolbox, and look for the data grid view. You can find it in data section. Just drag and drop it on your Windows phone, and here you can see we have data grid view. And if you go to its properties and click here, you can see its name as DataGridView 1. Now I will show you how you can actually display your data inside that grid view. In order to do that, we have to, first of all, we will create a function, new function named as show data. Okay. Now in order to show data in GridView, we need SQL data adapter, SQL data adapter, and we will create its object as data adapter, and we need a data table as well. Data table, data table object. Okay. What we are going to do is, okay, just a minute. Okay. First of all, we have to establish the connection. So we will write connection equals to new SQL connection, and here we will type the connection string. Okay, this will make our connection. Now in order to insert the values, we have used command SQL command, but in this case we will use SQL data adapter to execute our command. So we will type data adapter is equal to new SQL data adapter, and here we have to type our query along with the object of database, that is connection. Okay, our query will be displayed inserted here, that is select static from sample table. Next thing we have to do is we have to create an object of data table as well. So we'll create data table object equals to new data table, and we will fill the data adapter dot fill, and we will type the data table object here. And since we have to display our data into that grid view, so we will type its name, that is GridView 1, data GridView 1 dot, we have to provide data source for this, so we will use data source, and we will use data table object as a data source for the data grid, and in the end we will just close the connection dot close. And before doing that, okay, we will save it right now, and we have to call this function whenever we want to show the data. So since we are talking about showing the data when we have to click the button, like when we insert the data, we have to show the data as well at the same time. So we will call this function inside the button one click event. So we'll type it just here, and I think that's enough. Let's start the project and see what's happened. You can see that it is not showing any kind of data here, but if we type that some text over here, name, age, and gender, and on clicking the submit, it is showing the data right here. But if you see that we close it and again execute that project, it is not showing any data here over here, but it has to show some data. So in order to make it show data here, we will use the following procedure. Just call this function on the form1 load as well. So when the form is loaded, it will first of all execute this, it make this function execute, that will display the data in the form in the grid view. After that, on clicking the button, it will do the rest of the work. So now I save it and execute it again, and you will see that it is by default showing the data. And if we add some new data, and click on submit, and it is showing our data again. So that's how we can create a simple Windows application that will insert and display data at the same time. I hope you have learned what I was trying to tell you. Thank you for watching. Allah Hafiz. And if you have any queries, please mention your queries in the comments below, and I will entertain your queries as soon as possible. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.